went well. This, you'll see. You'll see. Oh wait. Okay, well, I only had a minor hand in it. Minor. Actually, I don't need to do that because I can just use people TDS. Right?
Transcript for the TV show As Planned, LGBT themed home and garden TV show hosted by Baron Vladimir Harkkonen. Harkkonen, Happy Pride, citizens of the Emperor's Shadow Roman 4. Baron Harkkonen wishes to employ many gestures of good faith and tips for Pride Month filled with social cohesion for you and your family, protected under the kindly purview of Trone. I'm broadcasting to you in an undisclosed bunker in the volatile regions of 30 seconds so that our tips to make your BBQ or MDMA fueled romp at the clubs are broadcast without disruption. Most of us approach Pride Month with some dread. We shift our floating bulbs which keep us aloft and wonder, do I need to add yet another bulb again? How can I release excess weight to the atmosphere? And sure, how can you lighten up this holiday of rainbows? Step 1. Turn off the stupid filter system. Take pride in being proud of yourselves. A fortress like Harkko City doesn't have to be your last impression of our home. Let it be a ruddy gateway to the sky. And remember that despite our being dark red and extremely handy in low gravity, the noble blood running through the veins of most Harkonnen, it is not radiation. Our body suits can also absorb solar radiation, but still don't cover your scarves or bonnets when the sky's clear for the sunny day. We are sensitive to radiation and use heavy filtering on our land movers and troops and manufacturing centers to protect the people from overexposure to dangerous amounts of UV rays. But if the sunlight strikes your face and skin directly, you can end up in need of extra treatments that will reduce your hairline and leave your lips looking like giant crustaceans. Kate, do not experiment. If you look to your family, even one whose fur doesn't gleam as silky as the glaciers of Lampadas, do not mistake pride of their genes for a more profound relationship. That brings us to another useful suggestion. Many of us know how our partners are sometimes anxious to repeat certain moments or displays they enjoyed in their courtship. The nobility can get pretty hungry for pheromones when a particularly delicious foodstuff is available, or when they think it would please a member of the opposite sex to taste them. But now that we are partners, in my own experience, it often takes time before we recognize this subtle trigger. Pride can sometimes create such a bright sheen that even I am oblivious to it. But perhaps in our isolation on GD Prime, with the added distraction of hosting these unruly tourists from Ekas, haven't given a single sniff of such a simple recipe. Let pride go. Whether this means stitching the bracelet of bolts around your waist and plopping into a blissed out moment of reliving your first hooking up, or going over every curve and texture and erotic spice you can lay hands on with your love of an evening, let your pride and honor shine. Or maybe go out into the elements and appreciate them in their raw beauty, turning your filtration on at all times. If your partner wishes, then accept his or her romantic advance with joy in a private location, far from the public's ever-present gaze, for an entirely different set of reasons. This, my good neighbors, is something only a sexual prude or someone too dull and vacuous to connect their pleasure and body and worldview would decline. And there's always a special appeal to using pride as a mating tool, right? Or for giving yourself an overload of sweet euphoria, trying every technique you've learned of recent on a friend or ally in a very public area for the lurid audience of those in attendance, when they have seen nothing as strange as your love language, your secret orgasm ritual, or whatever else. And I guess there was only one step to that. Moving on to fashion. The Baron may not care one whit about it. I'm a person that wears whatever is closest to me whenever I rise from my stupor. But when it comes to my entourage of exiled catamites, the most beauteous final scions of royal families long since quashed, I expect nothing but the best, and append a dozen heavens and 100 worlds to source them from mindful vendors. For instance, Baron Vlad loves an array of leather harnesses to bind up his prancing studs, so that his ostentatious hoard may sparkle at him. When one has already commanded enough ships, flambeaux, and insects, even he finds himself daunted by his riches. And where the greatest gifting among the families and tribes in his universe takes place is at the Circle Galactique nightclub, which is bedwarmer June, or it takes the initiative to usher me toward for one night of truly costly glory. He prefers the belt he receives there, or the bandolier worn by a solid and gentleman with blue gems set along the thickest leather to impress the graces of his robe upon those who choose to give to him, rather than use a cruder payment. But on the third day of our mingled company on GD Prime, an observant messenger attends our party and hands me a text box with a matching satin belt made from pure Higram and solid black and diamonds to prove a diamond dealer from Rastafari who claims he sourced it from a whole ecosystem. Perhaps a network of Oraki habitat wagons exists in secret on a deserted world somewhere that exports rocks to desperate persons like us. At this time I refuse the gift with the tantrum so terrifying it could qualify for the memories of any holosimulation on Paita. If one would pay for luxury with heart and passion, it should be displayed without shame and provoked from its witness by more than some catchphrase marketing copy. And if your catamite should decide to get a little uppity, and liquid boldness bestows the delusion of autonomy, hear how the Baron with thumb-thick rods of optimization cuts off at the path's rehumanization. Let's say that your newest, whose prettiness rivals that of even Fate, which has gotten under Fate's skin, then you see the immediate opportunity. Should this pretty one disobey even in the microrealms of his face, you can immediately provoke your nephew into offense, which he will then take out on your newest. The beneficial effects on your coteries morale are self-evident. Your youngest servant becomes stronger and healthier in order to protect himself from future reprisal and feel a sense of acceptance, knowing his betters value him highly enough to permit such deviances to work. So please don't punish him with anger, only encourage his talent for bending under pressure. This, as we know, is what it means to have a heart. I was ready to finally act upon this earlier and provided the itinerary for this piece of wisdom myself, as my travel around Harkkonen City did not abate when a document landed on my desk with an itemized receipt showing that Fate had put in an expense to receive the honorarium, notifying the vendor and tracking down the rental crew. Not that Baron Harkkonen, savior of the noble blood of Bitjas, should show favoritism for those who came late to our party or ruin our show. We would need to check his daybook before returning to Arrakis and fix the error in the timing of the bovine sacrifice before the guild could award him more honors and fulfill his libidinous fantasy. The ancient allies hoisted my hindquarters, and that, in part, was the entire reason why he paid me. For one such as I had an infallible intuition. I pushed forward the launch of my transport of new mercantile openings, the classic experience that led Baron Harkkonen to make the concessions that earned me a comfortable space here and allowed me to finish these transcriptions and spackle in some vulgar portrait. You know me, always a sucker for a warm hand on my opening. Okay, it's time for viewer mail. My catamite cryptographers have been working into the night to decode the desperate 11th hour inquiries you may have to make this year's Pride the most memorable. Dowina from our embassy on Roma 9 asks, Is it okay if I engage in cannibalism of the consumable volunteers? She's asking after the bronze brehorn, the steel ladle, and the ash cakes to eat with them. And for those of you who want to thank me in a very direct and efficient manner for the essential data management skills and technologically assisted genital augmentations, I provide our junior archivists and fraternal teams in my classified data archives of great unexplored thrills. May you send along a painting of a priest of the Petriavure that is recreated using your finest impasto brushstrokes. It will be received as an overture and perhaps help you secure an initial consult and confidant within my humble workforce. Just one of the ways in which you are reminded you are my superior. As an inducement, I may return it with a spirit of healthy competition to create the best digital emulations possible of your beloved icon. One of the rewards of collaboration. Apex Power is asking me to go up against the superior clan leaders from the Emperor's House God of our Cipher is our project. An esoteric assembly of dueling babble sheets of market statistics and artistic convention in the classical Prevorian Bacterian canon of fiction. It could use an orchestration, but it might win awards. Are you thinking that my cousin Vernal is still somewhere out there, competing in some devious scheme against our combined intelligence? She probably left after her evolution succeeded and is seeking my gratitude by manipulating my extravagance through the game of charity to remind me that she won our endless arguments in my youth and never wanted anything of my trust, inheritance, or weapon stock. That my next creative effort will need to have more strength to best her counter quotes than when we debated during our reigns as unchallenged patrons in the cities of Thonoris and Shuluk. Oh, that is sad news indeed. You can say I read it aloud to you in case anyone missed the horribly boring meeting where it was discussed and ratified by the seniors before the unhappy terms were spun by our gatekeepers, overseen by my despotic matriarch of the many realms. I never needed to accept their feints at amending a council or reveal the sly, elusive lecture I hid behind every motion. Oh, how the blind followers of a chipless logic love to panic when I maintained our veritable syndicate, where my syllogisms as leader ruled my imaginary herd of industry like the aforementioned stellar fleet ships ruled the precincts of interstellar traffic. The Supreme Court on Kivro are known to give even more color to a fine tranche of pseudo-language like that one. I leave them to interpret that our sermons from the planet would continue with our community members safely living together in mutual support of each other, our assistants and lords of our subsidiary planets. They would take more than one swift drop in temperature and ice wind of an insensitive collective to sap me of my false balance of funds and a pickled mood of midges. But who am I kidding? Even those bureaucrats from the unholy arena could never succeed at reaching that height in livelihood, and moreover never receive our estate of copper on its impact site on any unprotected moon in any classifiable planetary system. But the pressure in strategy games with the expanding acoustics of my shallow scraping echoes off my toilet stall certainly doesn't make me tired. However, even I am susceptible to an iridescent waterbed which your unnamed mystery architect did my penthouse, even better than the first secret pit set within the fathoms of Tivulax aquaculture tanks. You know I only dabble in philanthropy in that it has an elastic structure for growth to match that of my capillary corporation and network. All that red tape must be handled. We need a mandatory receipt on all files. Our secrets are only the same when they're spent. It's time for you to unplug for a little vacation on an anonymous world like mine, where my governors would remain quiet about our rapacious clan if they knew a thing or two of my dealings, which also somehow became recorded as evidence of me returning a kindness or interest or happiness, whatever your instincts might inform you, which you cannot afford to do as a tribute to my divinity and expectations to alleviate my growing desires for novelty in my clan's spring cleaning. I still want to reach through this transmission to you in spite of its darkness, and let your bathrobe blow gently away as your scalp shines at me, or else cover your boldness and signify that you wish me to share a moan as a remedy to this correspondence that resembles a health violation to our fans and competition. We should ensure the utmost health for us both to greet your departing flock and rescue the queue, one file at a time. There is still room on this scroll. Why, I'd even venture to wager that there is still an inch or two to go if we run on for another century, and we were only half done in 5000 years on the journey of 10,000 if that were to suffice. How dare you find yourself bewildered by me? And what have you got to go home to after your astounding discovery? Another queer start to your unending obsessions and liaisons to look at the subjects you already cataloged in your rich store of communications and energy for whatever peculiarities it would provoke you to reveal at once, a notion which does not correspond to reality. There are thousands of immortals far beyond you. We should sit back together to release the shackles of our sprawling election and negotiate an urgent parley that no one can erase as fast as a movie director and screenplay author can break character at the beginning or end to guess. Don't you realize that for so long as my speedboat slips along the subterranean moat canal of our domain, we can peel away the rough gray structure to discover that beneath the shiny enamel and felt chlorine of our shut-ins, we still see the glow of a pen floating down on a huge map of our private conversations and hugs filled with such moist perfection. Next week, the Baron will dispatch, without much delay, the methods to mitigate the hangovers associated with what the Baron hopes will be a most cathexit Pride Day. Until then, I am, as ever, at your service. The next recorded sounds that can be detected by the microphone include shut it off and return to your duties. That's an order. And hey! Look, stop all that screaming. Stop making me angry. I want to throw you off a cliff and let you roll into the barrow pond, followed by a loud thump against the surface.
That's all. Good night, happy Pride.